everyone, welcome back. So now we are in week 10 of Voyage 16 for a balance transfer of 3,640 on Discover 1. And then joining us this week are 10 whales for the 10 weeks. How's everyone doing today? I hope you're doing well. Once again, our weather is being absolutely gorgeous. I mean, last week we had a mini blizzard, and this week we're into, well, yesterday was really windy and cold, but today's just beautiful. So let us see what happened with the numbers this week. We start off with the payroll that went into checking for $1,162.02. And then per usual, we put the $161.02 into savings, and then we used the $1,000, which we also used for savings payback / weekly bills. And then how the savings went this week is we start off with a balance of $2,034.07. There was a miscellaneous, I think this was just a interest that went into other accounts. I just went ahead and combined it all for this extra $2 and put it into the savings. And then this shows that $161.02 for the payroll. And then we did have $13.01 after we paid our bills last week. So that got returned to the savings. And then for this week on the savings payback, last week we had bills that came to $986.99, so we paid those back. So we zeroed out our bills. And then our loans line of credit, we had owed ourselves $5. We applied $5, meaning we still owe $40 to savings for that. The mortgage was $457 that we owed ourselves. We applied $5, and now we're at $452. Old American Express was at $266.24. We applied $301, and now we're at $263.23. So with the savings payback, we had owed ourselves $1,755.23. You applied the $1,000, and we're at $755.23. So then when you look at our previous savings, we're at $2,210.10. Add the $1,000 for $3,210.10. And then we use those numbers for the debt payment. So we start off with the savings as being $3,210.10, and we take out $828.56 for bills. And that is broke down into the internet on American Express. We have student loan A and B are both coming out, and they're normally due on the 7th. And luckily that came on a Saturday, so they're not going to take the money out until Monday. And I had actually forgotten I probably should have done this last week, but I had actually kind of forgotten about these student loans, but I did get lucky on how it fell into the monthly payment schedule. So that student loan A will have $110.49 going to it, and student loan B will have $71.04. And then there is a gas bill that got paid for $165.03. And I did run it through my little mini line of credit, and basically the reason why I did that was it was set up where it does not take credit cards very easily, but it's easier to pay through a checking account. And I had already had a different checking account set up on it, which had that line of credit. So I just went ahead and used that to make life simple, to make sure the gas bill got paid, because I paid it on the day it was due, and I wanted to make sure it got done. And then we put $200 to Citibank for groceries, and then we were able to pay $200 to Discover 1. So then savings ends at $2,381.54. And then the funds were essentially put into the backup checking, where currently there's a $50 buffer, and we still have that $20 for American Express, and I'll probably get that sent out this week since the American Express just cycled through. So then we had $70 just in that checking account as a buffer. We had that $1,000 of payroll going in, making it $1,070. And then we anticipate doing the $828.56 in bills, and then we plan on having $171.44 returned back to savings, and then leaving that checking back at the 70. So that's how it will cycle through this week. And we have our 10-week progress on February 6th. We were able to apply $200. So now we're down to $2,190. That is owed on that balance transfer. And then we still have until February 13th to decide what we're going to do with that final 2,190. And there is likely to take it out of savings, and there is also the credit union is running a 0% balance transfer, and I don't know if I even want to mess with that. It's for a 6-month process, but I may just do things through savings instead, just to kind of end the fiasco of balance transfers. I'm getting very done with them, because this one is one, and then I think we have one due on April 1st. So that's where we're at on week 10 on this voyage. And then this just shows down our process where we did do the 200, so we're at 2,190. And then next week we could take out a savings to pay that off, and I kind of leaning towards that way. So we'll see what we end up doing for sure. And then this is just the captain's log for this voyage 16 with week 1 through 7, and we had gotten it down to 2,540 as of week 7, and then we had paid off 75,394.25 of debt. And then I did a page 2 to make things a little easier to see. So at the moment we still owe 2,190 on that balance transfer, and we have paid off $75,744.25. We then look at credit available. The Visa stayed the same for the week. And Discover One, we have a limit of 22,000. The balance is now down to 2,190. Available is 19,810. And once again, we plan on taking this Discover One off our list of credit cards to be one less line of credit to deal with. And for the monthly bills, on February 6th, we do $200 to Discover One. The internet got paid with American Express, so that 82 will go to the American Express. Then student loans A and B will be coming out. We paid the gas bill, and with the gas bill, what I did is I did that small line of credit, and I need to pay back that small line of credit. And then we did the $200 of groceries to that Citibank. We had loan 1 come out for $191.28. Line of credit 1 for $119.21. Line of credit 2 for $123.65. And then line of credit 3 for $124.37. All cleared that account. And then as far as the loans for February go, the mortgage, I just got where I set up for online banking on Friday. And then they have to do a couple trial runs through the checking account to make sure that they can take the funds out. So I was hoping to have that updated this week, but it looks like next week would be that time frame. And then I think I probably, went over that loan 1 last time, along with those lines of credits. The student loans will come out on Monday, so we'll have an update on those 2 on probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So that is coming up. And then for small bills, the overdraft is the one where I did the gas bill on. And basically that was, I wanted to make sure with the checking account, I think I had actually forgotten the gas bill was due on the 1st. And this was what kind of drives me nuts on the gas bill. There's never a set date. And this is that one bill where sometimes it can happen twice a month and sometimes it happens once a month. Anyway, it ended up being higher because we've had a pretty cold winter. So I ended up using the overdraft on the checking account, that small line of credit, to pay that bill, since that checking account was linked to paying the gas bill and it was the easiest option to go. So under small bills, the overdraft has increased to $398.24, and then the furnace, we still owe $300 on that. So we're at $698.24 on small bills. And then this week I plan on going in and paying that overdraft part of that $165.03, and that'll get back down to the smaller balance. And then this is just our calendar. I realized I hadn't really filled out February's yet, but you can see how on the 1st and 2nd how we already paid most items, and then we have the student loans over here. And then Target, I believe we've already paid that, but I'll double check on that one. And then Discover One, we've already paid that for the month. And then we have the trash and water coming out. And the Netflix comes out automatically via checking account. And then we have Discover Two, American Express. And then I believe I've already gotten the Visa and the overdraft paid for the month of February. And that's always due at the end of each month. So let's see, we just have the electric bill now, and that might be about it. I almost feel like I'm forgetting something, but and then our city banks will cycle out sometimes between the 16th and the 18th. I've gotten to where I just like to go ahead and make the minimum payments the minute they cycle out, since that's 3 cards on the same day, and it makes it a little easier to deal with them, just paying the minimums on the cycle out date and then figuring out what's due as we pay things. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. Please like and subscribe to follow my debt journey. And if you've followed me this far into the video, the code word is birthday cake. I just recently had another one of those birthdays, so I figure, oh, birthday cake, not birthday day, birthday cake. Goodness, my age is starting to catch up with me already. So birthday cake is the code word. And yeah, we'll have more updates like on the mortgage and the student loans next time. And I will talk to you in the next video. Thank you for joining me. Bye.